Hello, and welcome back to the next episode of Mining the Universe. Today, we're talking about karma, destiny, and the law of attraction. And this has been on my mind to talk about for a while because I think there's a lot of confusion and a lot of harm that can happen from the way law of attraction has been taught or interpreted. I don't cast blame. It's just I have known a lot of people who um, it really hurt their interpretation of it and how it not getting what they were trying so hard to get affected them. So I wanted to address this. I want to start at the beginning. So we're going to start with karma. So what is karma? Karma is complicated and it comes from a couple of different places. So I'm going to start with what we think it is, which is a slap on the hand or the butt or the head from God as punishment for being bad or making a bad choice. I think that's the fearful way we have come to interpret it. And in reality, it is Newton's third law of physics, third law of motion. And it just states that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. The energy you put out into the world is the energy you get back from the world. But why are we confused about it? The origin of karma. In Hinduism and Buddhism, the sum of a person's actions in this life and previous states of existence is believed to decide their fate in future existences. So, my understanding is that this is a way of understanding why India has um, a caste system, and you come back into the caste that your destiny or your karma has provided for you. So, to me, this is an excuse for treating people badly or other people getting things they don't deserve. And the idea is that you have to live in this life to pay off the debts of a past life. Um, I don't believe that's the way karma works. That's not been my experience with karma. And like many religions, we try hard to make sense of things, but then human brains and human behaviors get involved, and we kind of muck it up a bit. But each person is born with karma, and this is true. We are all born with karma. The residual from past lives that must be resolved. In some sense, that is true. I do not believe that we're paying for our past crimes or we're given everything our hearts desire because of past wrongs, ways we've been wronged. I just think that it's simpler and less overarching than that. You know, it's having money karma. It's having a lifetime where you really struggle to understand it and you come back with a choice that you made to figure it out this time. Um, and that's how, well, I'll get to that in a second. So, the modern America use of karma is this is how we explain destiny or fate, the effect on you from a cause, something you did. You get cut off in traffic on Monday. On Tuesday, you get in a car accident because someone cuts you off. That's karma, just desserts, getting what is owed to you from the universe. And again, this is problematic because it's the idea that there is a being up in the sky that is judging and deciding punishment. And because of the inconsistency of payback, so to speak, or karma and its results, that can be really damaging. If somebody just has bad experiences over bad experiences and they've decided that this is their fault, that we have said somehow, as a way to absolve I don't know, the unfairness of life or the benefit of others, meaning the privileged class beating out the oppressed classes, which is reality. This happens. We see this happen every day. The energy you give out is the energy you get back. That is karma. That is energy. That's Newton's law. And energy can be emotions. If we're feeling depressed or angry over a period of time, that is the energy that's going to come back to us. This doesn't mean that if you have a stray thought that is ugly, harmful, resentful, angry, upsetting, that's going to throw off all of the other work that you've done. We are allowed to be upset. We are allowed to be angry. When we get stuck in that place, and we've all known people who either get into depression for an extended period, and you just watch how things go for them, and you feel, because you see that um, they're getting more of the same energy, and you just want to help figure it out for them, or it's just hard to watch. And conversely, anger is similar. Somebody can't get over something and they hold on to this anger. That's a lot of what they get, because that's what they're giving out. So energy can be emotions, but it also be actions. When you intentionally cut someone off, you're probably going to get something intentionally happening to you that was self-serving, um, because of somebody else's self-servingness. So someone else cutting you off, someone else stealing from you. These are intentional acts that serve someone that isn't the other person. It's unkind. So that is karma. What's law of attraction? The law of attraction is a philosophy that suggests that thoughts determine reality. It states that positive thoughts lead to positive results and negative thoughts lead to negative outcomes. And I'm not saying this isn't true, but I am saying this is only one of 12 universal laws that govern our world. And to put it as the only one oversimplifies something that's more complicated. And these laws provide balance. They're a balanced approach. One. So these are the 12 laws: the law of oneness, the law of vibration, the law of action, correspondence, cause and effect, karma, compensation or abundance, attraction, perpetual transmutation of energy, relativity, polarity, rhythm, and receiving and giving, which is, these are all explained at the end of the slideshow, and you can download this from the app at the end. So I'm not going to get into all of them, but these, as you read, if you just get a slight idea of what it's referring to, you understand there's more at play here than just whether or not positive thoughts are happening. That doesn't mean that positive thoughts don't help. It's simply one of a handful of things. So, what law of attraction gets wrong? There's a hyper focus on this thoughts create your reality, leads to anxiety and depression. It leads to people overthinking their every thought and beating themselves up when they have bad days, when they're depressed because they're not getting what they want. It leads to a really vicious cycle that I've seen people cause great pain to, it causes great pain within them to have the idea that what they want is within their control and they're just not good enough to get it. They're not capable enough to put their thoughts in the right frame so that they get what they want. And I just find that so heartbreaking to watch. I've seen it too many times. The second thing it gets wrong is the oversimplification. That all you have to do is get this in order. And it's basically what causes the depression and anxiety, right? It's just the idea that all you have to do is get your thoughts in order and poof, you get what you want. And it's just not that simple. And it's it leaves out so much. And it's the idea that, I don't know, it's trendy spirituality instead of really understanding the all the pieces that play into what builds a life, what creates a life, and what, you know, how to live happy. It's not a game. We're not playing a game where winner takes all. It's not meant to be easy. Um, if it has a meaning or a point, I believe that we've chosen to be here for reasons that we may never know in this lifetime. We may have to die to figure it out. And all of all of the religions and all of the um, texts like these, law of attraction, these 12 universal laws, this is human brain's attempt to make sense of the world. And again, I allow for everyone to have their belief system. This is mine. This is what makes sense to me. And I've gotten here based on, well, a lot of teachings, but also a lot of witnessing of what doesn't work. Um, I was raised in a Christian church, and there are a lot of lovely things about Christianity, but there's a lot of hurtful things and judgmental things and controlling things about Christianity. So this isn't meant to be a, a selling point that I'm selling you some way of seeing things. I'm just hoping to explain why, if you've been hurt by law of attraction, this is probably why. But let's also talk about what law of attraction gets right, because it does get some things right. So we can find ways to be okay, content, and even happy when things around us aren't going the way we want them to. Um, I, while I was in my education mode, which we always sort of are, but there was definitely a period, an intense period of time where I was just consuming a lot of information. And one of the sources was law of attraction. And this is way back in the old days before podcasts and MP3s and YouTube videos. And I used to listen to a CD. I would get a CD in the mail every month. And it would be a live event of Abraham Hicks presenting law of attraction with questions and answers. And I would just throw it in my car, in my CD player, and I would listen throughout the month. And then the next one would come and I'd change it out. And I really felt this is so true. All of what I'm telling you, I'm giving you the background on why I have these beliefs. Um, but we aren't. Again, this isn't a game of always get what we want. It's a game of how can we be resilient and happy and content, and also honest in our feelings and upset and sad when that's appropriate. And I was someone who was usually on the depressive side, and law of attraction definitely helped me through these listening to these questions and answers understand that my happiness isn't going to come from getting everything I want. That is nice, but it doesn't make me happy. And even if things aren't going well and you're not getting what you want, you can be okay. You can be content. You can be happy. It's not a transactional relationship we're having with the universe and each other. It's not about who wins the most. It really is how you play the game, and how you play the game leads to a happier game or an unhappy game. We can let go of a lot of the ways we are attached to outcomes of things that often don't have anything to do with us. This is, I don't know, I'm thinking the next one, I'm going to read the next one and then tell you my thoughts. Getting justice won't come from a system that isn't just. have faith in that karma plays the long game, and we don't need to know that whys and hows of other people's experiences. So these two are entwined for me, because the first one, we have to let go of the outcomes that we don't have anything to do with us. I remember listening to a particular event in San Francisco, and this was before gay marriage was legalized. And this was a lawyer who was a lesbian saying, how can she be happy when she can't be given what everyone else has, where she is being kept out of something that she really wanted? And that's fair. She deserves to have her marriage recognized. She deserves to have the benefits and legal options that married people have. And she can also let go of the idea that just because someone said it can't be, that means she can't ever be happy with the life that she has. Um, you can keep fighting for something and enjoy what you actually have in the moment. Because if all of your energy is going to fighting for justice and no justice is coming, it's really hard to find happiness, right? It's like you've got to separate them out a little, have room for both the fight and experience of life, making dinner together, going to the movies, going to family vacations and birthdays and all of the things. So that was a beautiful lesson for me. um, and then getting justice won't come from a system that isn't just, also plays to that example. But the one that sat with me harder than that, and this is going way back again to the verdict, the OJ Simpson verdict. And we all know he did it. And he got off. And I had an astrologer that I was seeing at the time say, I knew as soon as I heard that verdict, there was more going on than I understood. That this was a play by the universe, of karma, and he was getting justice from something that we don't understand. And it's not for us. It's not for us to understand. I don't think his life has gone particularly well since then. So we could say that karma, did get him. But for whatever reason, it wasn't there. It wasn't then. And there are so many moving pieces in this world, and we can get so caught up in what we think justice looks like. And that if it doesn't look just like that and happen just the way we want it to, that, something's wrong. And you just got to be patient. You got to wait this out and find a way to find peace with what is. And know that you might always carry a scar from whatever it is, but you can come out of it. And just because that person didn't get the result that you thought was just karma doesn't mean that they aren't living the way the world works. They aren't living out something. Perhaps they had a punishment in a previous life, and this time they're getting off because they didn't deserve the punishment they got. We have no way of knowing. And I think it's too hard to try to keep score like that. And people will always have the news, and will always have, a framework that says this isn't fair. And it may not be fair. It may not be fair in this moment to you. And yet it is. And we have to come to terms with, but it is. And find a way to move forward and take back our lives, not live in resentment or uh, a grudge. It's life is too short for that, and we can waste a lot of it worrying about these things. So live as much as possible in the moment. Take each moment and live it to the fullest. And this answers everything that feels unjust about this world. We can't do anything about what's already happened. We can't do anything about what's about to happen. We can only do with what's happening right now. And if we can spend more of our mental power in the now, it's a lot easier to be happier, because things are always going to happen throughout life that are painful. Life is hard. It is not easy. I don't think it ever will be. And I don't know the whys of that, but I do know that sometimes through a really painful, sad, terrible experience, good things bloom. And it's the long game. It really is the long game. So, what is destiny? The reason law of attraction has caused so much harm, in my opinion, is that there is a role that destiny plays, but it doesn't work the way most of us think that it does. Our world is a game of free choice, meaning even if we don't have freedom to make the choice, the way this world works is that we can make any number of decisions about big things and small things, and those decisions really have effect in other people's lives. So, say you take the bus every day to work, and one day you decide to drive a car, and that's the day the bus gets in an accident. Well, you didn't get in that accident because you drove, and vice versa. And these are just everyday decisions that we will never know the outcome of. This idea of infinite or multiverse, where every decision splits and all of the choices play out in another dimension. Well, sure, why not? It seems really complicated, and I don't like thinking about it because it is overwhelming. Um, but that's why destiny can't be predicted, because even a great psychic, there are too many moving parts to know, you're going to meet the guy of your dreams January 5th at 5 o'clock. Like, there's just no way to predict something like that with any accuracy. Can they be right sometimes by accident? Yep, sure can. But more often than not, because of the number of moving parts, there's just no way for them to be predicted, these events. So, destiny and fate suggest that the future has been decided or planned by God or by some godlike power, and nothing we do can change the outcome. And I just don't believe that's true, not in the grand scheme of things. I do believe that our karma can affect certain things. Um, you know, so the way karma affects destiny, there's a record kept of our lives. It's called the Akashic Records. It records all of our lives from the first incarnation of a soul. And they also contain a blueprint of the intentions and experiences you've chosen to play out in this lifetime and probably future lifetimes. So there are a few things in there that aren't going to change, that no matter how hard you try to avoid it, it's gonna be a part of your existence. Or no matter, maybe it's something that you want very much. It's just people. The thing that always comes to mind is motherhood. Some women really want to be mothers and they can't get pregnant, and we know there are other ways to become a mother. You don't have to have your baby, you can adopt. There's surrogacy. um, there are options. So it doesn't mean you can't be a mother, but it means maybe that you can't have a baby. So these are the kind of things that, no matter what you do, you can't change a body, chemistry, or it's not even a chemistry. I believe it's just, this is not for you. So you can try to force it to happen, but maybe you do force it into being, but usually you can't hang on to it. It's like lottery winners who have never had money and have no understanding of how to have a lot of money, no way to invest, or no understanding of it. They just blow through it because they weren't meant to have that in this lifetime for whatever reason. And on the flip side, I'm sure there are lottery winners who, are good with money and invest and hang on to it. And it's again, there's a lot of things at play, but sometimes it's just not in the cards. So, in summary, karma is less about punishment and more about getting what you give. It's Newton's law, it's physics. Avoiding negative karma is easier when we stay in our boundaries and respond thoughtfully to life. Stay in our lane. You know, we can get upset at results of things and what has happened or didn't happen to somebody. It doesn't serve us. You know, be in this moment, be in your body, experiencing your life, and make it as good as you can, because this life isn't easy. And no amount of positive thinking will change the outcome of your destiny blueprint. And there aren't a lot of things on there that we can or can't have. You know, it's just a couple, which means most of our lives is up to us. And our choices and our decisions, when led by charity and grace and love, are really powerful. We'll get all of that back. And yes, it's so easy to get caught up in other people's anger and resentment and our own, you know, done to us by somebody. But at the end of the day, it doesn't feel good to live in those negative emotions. And back to law of attraction one last time. Because you didn't get what you want, it's not your fault, and it was never your fault. And you tried, you did your best, and it wasn't meant to be. So, what's next? What can you move on to? And I'm not saying that glibly or because it's not important what you wanted. It is, but feed that soul, examine, go deeper. How can you find something else that can make you come alive again? There are no substitutes for what we can't have, but there are agreements or a decision to move on anyway. And I hope that you can. Well, thank you very much for joining me. This is a monthly event inside the Cozy Heart Network Sanctuary, and it is the second Monday at 4 o'clock Pacific Time, 1 o'clock Eastern. It's recorded and posted and will live in the community forever. So I hope you will come back and join us again, and I wish you all well. Thank you.